This segment is brought to you by Powersmith Solar. Get a quote today for the best pricing in the nation. Veteran owned, over 15 years experience. Contact us at 424 area code 342 3392. Reach out to us by email at rudolph@powersmithsolar.com. Awesome. Nicole, long time no see.
Very long time.
Yes, very long time. Happy New Year. And yeah, I wanted to reach out to you and get you on the show to kind of go over just your story. You've been a dancer for quite some time, and no one really, at least a lot of us out there that are from the LA area, I've seen you in so many clubs promoting and just being a part of so many different events. And I just wanted to get your story. How did you get into this world of teaching and salsa? When were you first exposed to it?
Well, my family's from Colombia, so we always did some kind of partner dancing, although what they consider salsa is not what we consider salsa, which you probably know
Right,
very well by now.
right.
Um, and I first went to my first nightclub at Sportsman's Lodge. I was 11, and I was
Wow,
friends
awesome.
with Brielle Valentine and Sherry Blackwell, who still dance today. And they introduced me to it. It was like an all ages event, and so I got to go. And then I always had it in the back of my head that I really love salsa. So I went to my high school and I tried to start a salsa club. And everybody wanted to dance merengue, so it didn't work. And then when I got to college, the first thing I sought out was salsa. I wanted to either be on a team or just learn more of it because all I had taken were some kids salsa classes that they
Right.
offered in the San Fernando Valley. But it was always like in the back of my head that I really love this, and it was just something that brought me a lot of joy. And so once I found it at UCLA, we used to go out all the time, right? There were so many places on the west side. And
Right,
so every night of the week, I could go out dancing. I joined Tropical Rhythm, which was Zonic's team
right,
back in
right.
the day. And I was going out 6, 7 times a week. And then after I graduated, I started working in Hispanic marketing. And when I was there, I was kind of miserable. I was like, I don't feel good about telling kids to eat Chef Boyardee. I don't want to be good at my
Right.
job if that's what it means. So actually, Rodrigo Guzman said, look, you're obviously very into this. You dance all the time. Why don't you consider teaching and I'll teach you how to teach? So for a
Oh,
year, I was under his wing, and I would show up early. He'd tell me like, this is what we're going to teach. This is why we structure the class the way we do. And after a year of that, I started teaching classes with Alejandro Sol, and I started doing lady styling classes. And then Monsoon Cafe had heard that I was was teaching, and they were looking for a new teacher, so they reached out to me. And so this was, gosh, I think 12 years ago.
okay.
And once I started
Okay.
working at Monsoon, you meet all these people that want to learn how to dance, and then it's
Right.
just a matter of like funneling them into other classrooms or doing private lessons. And so that was like what created the monster, right? That's why
Right.
that got started. And so from then, I mean, I've been to a number of different nightclubs, like really popular places, and it's always allowed me to meet lots of new students.
That's awesome. Wow. It's crazy because it's 12 years ago, and I know Rodrigo pretty well. He's really great guy, so nice. He's been around for a long time, and for him to, teach you that, like, his process was amazing.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. I'm super grateful for him. He changed my world.
And it's awesome to think it's like 12 years ago you started learning that process, and it just slowly, it took some work, obviously, because today you've created this monster where, and I've mentioned this to a few friends, it's like when there's an event, I always see Nicole promoting this event or this club, and the marketing of the club itself, the way it looks, it's and would you agree that it had to do with some of the marketing ability that you had? Because it's just, you're so good at it. It's very, you can tell by just the way you promote things.
I think I just had the interest in advertising and marketing, but Latino market, especially when we're talking about 14, 15
Right.
years ago,
Yeah.
it was the opposite of what we do now, right? So, like, radio spots were a really great way to approach the Latino market. Radio is not really a thing anymore,
That's
but
true.
15 years ago, Latinos were like the number one group that would have the radio on in the background while they're working. So they were spending more hours listening to the radio than any other group. So a lot of that marketing was kind of, if you kind of put it in a category, it's like a lot of old school marketing, like commercial
Right.
spots and radio spots and things that we don't really are not as popular today. Right now, it's very, very like social media driven.
Right.
um so just the approach is different. So I think I had the interest, but certainly what I learned at the agency was, it was antiquated. It wasn't applicable to what we do today.
Right. Because it's just it's kind of like it was a dying industry in a sense back. It was very popular 15, 20 years ago, but because of
Sure.
technology, everything changed. And when did you see the change, and when did you make the adjustment to say to yourself, you know what, I need to focus on social media, I need to focus on Facebook, I need to focus on Instagram? When was that?
I mean, when I once I started really getting into the promoter space,
Yeah.
then I started trying to look at the market, the field in a different way. And
Right.
so that's when I started paying attention to social media a little bit more. I don't really post my personal life, but
Right.
I do like to highlight that part of my personal life, that, that salsa part.
Right.
Um, I do like live, breathe, and eat dance. So let's be honest, I guess that is my personal life. And so
Right.
uh just adjusting, knowing that like this is how you build a community, this is how you get in front of eyes. And so, making social media a priority. I think maybe I'm trying to say, I think I opened my Instagram account like 9, 10 years ago. And I think that's really when I started to focus on that, and it was a game changer, right? It was a big deal.
Nice,
Yeah.
nice. And do you do this full time, or do you have a full-time job? This is pretty much full time.
I work for Google twice a week, but I teach
Mhm.
dance there. So I don't do
Yeah.
anything techie. I teach dance there. I have my
Yeah.
own studio in West LA now, and that keeps me
Nice.
pretty busy. And then I have two nights, one on Mondays in downtown LA at Noi Pits, which used to be Blue Jay, but now it's been renamed.
Right.
And
Remember
then the Victorian every Thursday, which is our big night of the week. I don't think you've been there yet, right?
I haven't been to that one. No.
It's pretty phenomenal. I mean, so much talent, so many people come out,
When did that
and I'm
start? When
super
did the
grateful.
Victoria?
We're gonna reach the year mark next week.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, I've heard of it, but yeah, I've never been to that one.
It's a phenomenal venue, and I'm super grateful that they gave us a chance to try to do salsa and bachata there. I think it really exposes what we do to a lot of new people.
Yeah.
Like if you just look at my like the classes at the beginning of the night, you're like, oh, I don't recognize these people at all. It's totally fresh faces, and the
Wow.
Victorian is just really popular on its own. So it kind of markets itself, and people know the space, and then when they hear they have salsa and bachata night, they're all about it. So it's been a real blessing. I'm super grateful to be there. And yeah, I mean, every Thursday is like a congress. It's so many people. It's amazing.
Wow, that is awesome.
Yeah.
And it's pretty impressive because you not only teach, but you also promote the venue, the event.
Yeah.
Correct? You
Mhm.
teach, you promote the event. So
Yeah.
you're a woman of many hats. You're doing so. Do you DJ as well? Because
That'd
I
be
mean,
fun. No, like
right?
my go-to guy is Zonic. He's my
Okay.
main DJ right now.
Yeah.
And then we rotate DJs upstairs in the bachata floor.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice, nice. And the Blue Jay location, is that
Mhm.
still going on? It's under what name now? Or
Now it's called Noi Pits.
okay.
It's a Filipino restaurant, so a lot of
Yeah.
people ask me what the heck is a Noi Pit, and it was formerly Blue Jay. A lot of the design is the same, actually. It looks very similar to what it looked like a few years ago when we had open Blue Jay, but
Yeah.
it had closed, like the entire restaurant closed. It was bought by this Filipino chain, and that's why we reopened, and it was called My Pits. So yeah,
Okay.
that's Mondays, and it's fun. It's not the crowd that we have at the Victorian, because that it's like the Victorian is an insane venue, and the Noi Pits is more, you have a little more space to dance. It's a little more mellow. It's also a Monday night. Like there's only so many people that are going to go
Right.
out on a Monday.
And
Yeah,
Victoria's on a Thursday night?
Thursday. Yeah,
Okay. And where's the location of that one again? West LA, where exactly?
it's in Santa Monica on Main Street.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
2640 Main Street.
Nice, nice. Okay. Yeah, I've been told a lot of good things about it from a few people. They're like, "Oh man, this is a great club on Thursdays," and I personally had no idea that you were behind the whole thing. So it's even more impressive. And it's already been a year. It just, in your opinion, how what does it take to really get something off the like that off the ground? It seems like it's just a lot of work on your part promoting it. It seems like you created a big audience by now, a good amount of followers in the last 12 years, and
Yeah, I mean, being an active part of the community for the last 12 years, especially on the West Side, is a crucial component. And then
yeah,
honestly, some luck is also a component because, like I
right,
said, the Victorian is pretty miraculous on its own. So, you know, just dropping that name with a lot of the people on the West Side, they already know where it is. They already know it's a great place. So that part's kind of taken care of for you. But yeah, I mean, even during the pandemic, we were doing outdoor classes at the park where you bring your own partner, trying to keep it alive, but also just staying really relevant and staying in the scene, staying in the forefront of people's minds when they think about salsa and bachata.
yeah. That's a great point. I mean, staying relevant is such a big deal these days because that's one thing I've noticed just over the years because I've been to so many salsa events since Sportsman,
Yeah,
and I've seen so many amazing dancers that at the time were incredible. And it just seems like some of them continued on. Some of them, it becomes very challenging to become relevant. And I think,
sure,
and maybe you could speak to this, it just the amount of more talented individuals are coming into the scene or it changes different genres. Bachata comes into the actual scene,
sure,
and it's just it's interesting. We have. I know there's a few dancers that I know of that are trying to continue their presence and be relevant, and they're losing that touch, and it breaks my heart when I see an amazing dancer kind of lose their touch a little bit, trying to find their path again.
yeah.
Um, so it's
I mean, my thoughts on it, I guess we'd have to go on a case by case basis, but
right, yeah,
I think if I'm totally honest, like I don't think I can do this forever. I think I think age is a factor. So I think
right,
when if you're older, and especially if you're committed to some of the traditional ways that you're used to marketing yourself, you kind of have to adapt, you have to adapt with the times. And
right,
so if you reject the idea of, oh well, I don't want to do TikTok, or I don't want to do Instagram, I
right.
mean, you're just sealing your own fate, I think. And so, uh,
It's
it's
funny
not
you
that I'm
say
excited about it. Like I told you, I'm not thrilled to share about my personal life
right,
either, but I see it, I recognize it, and I'm like, okay, if I'm going to be relevant, then I need to make sure I stay in front of people's faces, and this is how we're doing it now. And if
yeah,
anything, I'm grateful for that, because certainly buying a commercial spot is out of my reach, right? That's going to be too expensive. So at
right,
least here you can be in front of your market, your um the people that would be interested in what you're doing at a, for free if it's organically, or if you're running ads, then at a moderate or reasonable price, right? I mean, I don't have
right.
$1 million to create a commercial for myself. So it's so I think that's part of it. I think I've also seen, if I think of particular people without naming names, like their personal lives getting in the way of their success, right? Whether
Correct. Right. I agree.
you know,
Right. Good point.
salsa is special in that a lot of people are single, right? So if you get married and have kids, it might take you away from the scene because now you're not able to stay out till 2 a.m. every night.
Right.
Um, if you have drug issues, that's also gonna, this is a business. You got to show up when you say you're going to show up, and you
Right.
got to treat it like a business. And I see
Right.
people falling through the cracks like that too. And
Right. I've seen
it's
it as
not a lack
well.
of talent, but if you're showing up and you're ill because you're on a bender, you were on a
Yeah.
bender last night or whatever, it's going to affect your business. And so I've seen that happen too. Yeah. And so I think there's a lot of different factors, and I feel like most people you have to see case by case. But if I look at like Yamule, they've been around for a long time and
Right.
they're still really popular, and I think they shift with the times, you know. And maybe the star has changed, right? Like whoever they have at the forefront has kind of
Right.
shifted a little bit. But they're still a relevant name, and they have been for a really long time, and so props to them. Um, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
Those
A
are sort
lot.
of my general feelings.
Yeah. No, a lot of props to some of those groups that continue and change with the times or make the adjustments and continue with that name that they're so recognized for. So that's definitely a good point because you have so many people that because of either drug use or a bender or it's they don't focus on their whether it's their classes or their business or their promotion, and it's gonna start to crumble. And I've as well seen that, and it's kind of sad to see. And but yeah, it's amazing to see some of your success, and just again, it's just the hard work that you put, the discipline and the hard work that you actually put together, and it's very noticeable. Believe it or not, there are a
Oh,
few there are a few friends of mine that really notice it. Like, oh, Nicole, she's doing this, she's doing that, and oh, she's got this event working together, or she's doing this club. So there's eyes on you, and it's you're looked upon with, wow, that's awesome. And
well,
it's
thank you.
very impressive that people see it and recognize your hard work, which is amazing.
It's nice to hear. I mean, I love it, and I don't mind doing it every day. And I think the thing that's the best thing that comes out of it for me is the community.
Yeah,
We
absolutely.
travel a lot, and we
Yeah,
do it together. And
yeah,
and so like we went to Croatia with like 35 people, which is on the other side of the world. So it's like that's a big project, right?
yeah,
And I didn't profit from that. I only like had an open invitation to people to come with me because I genuinely like these people.
yeah.
I love that I get to share that. Like I don't need a romantic getaway. I love sharing group experiences with people. Um, and so the community is really, to me, is where it's at. Like group dinners, yes, going out dancing, obviously, that's a given. Being able to travel together and then have the dance element. Like, what are we doing at night? We're going dancing because everybody here is a dancer, and we're going to meet new people in another country. I mean, to me, that's the ultimate. And I just have like great people around me who are committed to making it an amazing experience too. And I think everybody in our group feels the same way, and our group is really big, and everyone feels like, wow, this is amazing that I never walk into a club and not know people, or if ever I need to practice, I have tons of people that I can practice with. And I think there's people that have that kind of mindset that really help make that a reality. Not definitely not just me. I'm just
Right.
one person, but kind of maybe delivering that to people as part of the mission. They're also just they decide, is this for me or not? And then if they are on board, then they help grow it. And so that's that's the coolest part for me.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And you answered one of my questions because I was going to ask you, do you take some of the group that, that you're surrounded by to other countries, to other salsa
For
congresses,
sure.
or, gone to, sounds like you've gone to Croatia and whatnot. And that must be amazing just to be a part of other events across the world.
Yeah, the one that we're gearing up for, we're going to Malaga. We're going to Spain for a bachata festival, and that'll
Nice.
be the end of April. And we're gonna have a giant group, and it's gonna be a blast. And part of it is that, we're gonna get like a massive house in different cities that work. So it'll be dance, but it'll also be a little tourism, and we all stay together. And then, at the end of the night, we get to sit around and say, "Oh my gosh, I had this amazing dance," or I saw this historical artifact that had this amazing story, and you get to share it with people and you like relive it, and it just makes it so much better. So we have like Portugal, Spain, Croatia on the list this
Wow.
year. They're already like in motion.
Nice.
And we just have big, beautiful groups that are going. We go to Vegas every year. We've been to
Right.
Cuba. We've been to
Right.
Hawaii.
Nice.
It's really special. It's really cool.
Yeah, Cuba's
Yeah,
beautiful. I've been there.
yeah,
It's an amazing place.
yeah.
Yeah, it's an amazing place for sure. And what can you speak to, like, the some of the challenges that you go
Mhm.
through to put together an event together? Just because I know there's a lot of moving parts, and what are some of the biggest challenges you have? I know there's a few. You're
Uh,
like, okay, which you're like the top three or the top 10?
and by event, you mean club event?
Yeah,
Club event?
yeah,
Honestly, like getting a venue to agree is probably the hardest part.
right,
And then keeping them happy with bar sales is the second hardest thing, which is every club promoter has the same issue. If they're in salsa and bachata, we don't drink that often, that's pretty well known that we go out there to dance, and
right,
we might buy a bottle of water, but we're not getting bottles. That's
yeah,
not what we go out to do. Uh, so like, so working a deal that makes sense for us as dancers and also makes sense for the business owner is the hardest part, I think. Um,
yeah.
yeah, other than that, after that point, I kind of have my checklist of like, here's all the things that I have to do to get the word out. Yeah. So,
That's a good point because you know, salsa dancers don't buy that much alcohol because they want to go out there and dance. And when it comes to a bar, restaurant, or club,
yeah,
that's where they make most of their money, at the bar.
exactly.
That's a good point, and
I mean, it's a pretty amazing. I've seen like the accounting for some of these places, like successful bars. I mean, there's just so much money in alcohol. It blew my mind. I did The profit margins are through the roof. And so when we get in there, and even if we're like, hey, this is a successful night, there's so many people here, for that bar, it's crumbs. It's nothing, right? This is not making or breaking their accounting. And so we do our best to make them make enough to keep them happy so we have a place to enjoy ourselves, but it's tough. That is really tough.
yeah, it's great. I know a friend of mine whose brother owns a very successful bar in LA, and it's very busy, and he he makes over 100 grand in like 2 weeks. And I know
Yeah,
there's some
that's
bars that make
real.
more than that or less than that, but 200 grand in 2 weeks. What? That's
Yeah.
incredible.
I mean, there are hoops you have to jump through, right? Like to
Right.
get a liquor license, you're looking at $100,000 also. And
Easily. Yeah.
that's if you even get one, right? Like they only give out so many. It depends where you are. There's a lot of hoopla you have to go through. But if you do win that lotto, if you do get to that point where you can open a bar in a good space and you're up and running, it can be amazingly profitable. Yeah.
So
So
true.
so that's why we're kind of like small potatoes to these places. And so, if it's too much hassle, they're like, be gone. It's not worth our headache.
Yeah. They're like,
Yeah,
we sure you can run your club here. We make a lot of the money in the weekend type, some of these
exactly.
owners. Yeah. And
And that's why when people ask me, hey, why don't you open a Saturday night spot? I'm like, I would love to open a Saturday night spot. Everyone can go out on Saturday, or like two-thirds of the
right.
population that has a 9 to 5 Monday through Friday, they can all go out on Saturday. I would love to, but most of these places, if they are surviving, then they already have a bustling Saturday night.
Right,
And no matter how many people I bring in there, it's probably not going to top what they would do with drinkers.
right.
So, yeah.
That's the that's the sad reality that's out there. But it's true. It's at the end of the day, it's business. It's you
Yeah.
know, but the great thing about some of these venues, you're able to run it on a Thursday or on a Monday or on a Tuesday, Wednesday, where a lot of these bars tend to be a little slower during the week.
Right. Exactly. That's the
So
only reason why they give us a chance.
right, right, right.
Exactly.
And then
Yeah.
how are your classes? That you have group classes, privates. How do you market yourself? Is it just people that go to the clubs? Is it just now the following that you just built for yourself? And
So it's all of the above. So we
right,
have like three bachata classes and three salsa classes, and they're all 6-week programs.
nice,
We've just seen that that really works better for people because instead of doing a drop-in class where you come, you learn something, and then we're like, okay, bye, it's on you to go practice that and figure it out. At least for those 6 weeks, we're working with one group and we're going to review with you and we're going to be there for you to answer any questions for those 6 weeks. And then also, if you want to come to the studio one other time a week, you get 2 hours of free practice
cool.
because you need it's like learning a language. You need a million repetitions
Yep,
for you to really, really get it down. So that's why I didn't really embrace the drop-in formula because I don't think it's as helpful for students because I think a lot of the stuff that you learn in a drop-in, you have it for like 10 minutes and then it's gone.
yeah, I
So at
agree.
least here we can help you review and help match you with people so that you can actually practice. Because a lot of people who get into salsa are single, right? So they don't sign up with their spouse or have a spouse to sign up with, and so they don't have anybody to practice with at home.
Yeah,
So that's another component that we want to make sure you do have somebody to practice with. And so we're like, here you go, here's the studio, show up, and there's going to be other people that want to also look at videos and practice with you. So we do that. I do teach privates also. Um, and then I teach 2 classes at Google every week. Um,
nice.
yeah, all those things. A little bit of everything to keep life interesting. But yeah, the classes are really where the community building happens. And then you asked, how do I market these things? Since Monsoon, so for the last 12 years, I've been collecting email addresses and phone numbers. So I have pretty massive database at this point with people who at some point in their lives were interested in learning how to dance.
Nice, nice, nice. That's awesome. So you've collected that over the years.
Behind the scenes
That's
stuff.
that's great.
Yeah.
That's awesome. That's key. Just a huge database can really help in just marketing. So that's amazing.
Sure. Yeah.
One thing I was going to ask is just uh, that method is so smart because I still remember the first time I took a class and it was just drop it into a course someone was teaching, and I remember how intimidated I was. And when I did learn those few moves, you were absolutely right. When I left, that was it. I completely forgot. I was thinking, wait, what was the crossbody lead? It was this. So, and then I had to try to convince myself, wait, should I go back? It was a little bit more challenging than I thought. Whereas when you have that 6 classes, it almost gets you excited. Okay, I met a couple of people the first go around. I have 5 more times to go. I'm going to meet some more people. I'm going to meet a few girls here, make some friends, and be a
Yeah.
little more comfortable and learn more. So
Yeah.
that's really smart. I like that process.
Yeah. Well, thank you. I know sometimes it's a little unattractive to people because, well, one, they see the price tag for 6 classes, right? When you're doing
Right.
it one by one, it doesn't feel as painful. And so we're asking for like upfront payment. So that's a little more painful. But, and then you're also saying, like, okay, we expect you to be there for 6 weeks, right? Like you need to commit to 6 weeks, travel plans, whatever is coming up. we're asking for 6 weeks. So for people to say like, okay, 6 weeks every Sunday I'm going to be there, not everyone's comfortable with that. So there's some obstacles in the way of, where people have to think twice before they want to do a series. But I think if you're really serious about it, that's really the way to go.
Nice. No, that's
Yeah.
that's smart. And what kind of advice would you give someone out there that wants to teach out there and kind of do a little bit of what you're doing? Because you've been doing it for quite some time now.
Yeah. Yeah. Uh, so one, never stop taking classes, right?
Smart.
And now start looking at the classroom in a different way. Instead of thinking like, oh, I need to get the material down, how is the teacher presenting it, right? If it's a good teacher, like, is there a method to the way that they're presenting things? Um, and then what things do you like that they do, and what things don't you like that they do, so that you can also start using those methods in the classroom. Um,
That's so smart.
Oh, thanks. To start to kick off, I think a lot of dance studios are open to adding teachers, especially if they're just being added to the payroll and they're filling the classes for them.
Yeah.
So I think there is room to just ask your local dance studio owner, are you looking to hire? Which I am, and I almost always am.
Yeah.
And then I could potentially, set up a class for you to teach. And then also, at least with me, I'm happy to give you guidance because I want my classes to live up to a certain standard, right? So
Right.
now you have the Rodrigo Guzman who's taking you under their wing and showing you like this is how I think you should do things, and here's some, take what you like and discard what you don't, but at least you have someone who's kind of outlining the way they think it should be done.
Nice. I like
Yeah,
that. Yeah, that's so powerful because when you learn from a teacher, there's everyone teaches differently.
sure.
There's things that you're going to pick up from a teacher. There are things that you're not going to probably understand. Maybe you're not going to like. Maybe you're not going to quite get the teacher. Where it's so important to pick those good things from everyone because everyone teaches differently. Everyone
Sure.
teaches differently, and you want to find that connection with that one teacher. And this kind of goes back to when I was in school. I still remember I always hated history, and then I had that one teacher that was an amazing teacher, and I fell in love with history. So
100%. Yeah.
yeah, so it's the same thing with dance. It's your people are going to go through a few teachers that they may not quite like their style of teaching or
Yeah.
the way they teach, but the more teachers you actually go through, you'll find someone that's amazing. And one thing that I noticed from you when you're at a club, when you're at an event, there's always this positive, fun, welcoming energy around you. And
Awesome. Good. That's what I'm striving for.
no, yeah,
Yeah.
and that's something that that I just wanted to add as well for those that wanna, get into the world of teaching. That is a
Mhm.
quality to definitely have, to get out there, be positive, be
Thanks.
energetic, have this amazing outgoing fun loving personality, because every time I see you out there, you're just talking, having fun, having a great time. You're very personal with everybody, and I think that's pretty key as well.
It definitely helps. I mean, people are looking to dance to unwind, to have fun.
Yeah.
Um, and I think it's important as a teacher to help them achieve that. And if you're going through stuff and you're bringing it into the classroom, it's not welcome, right? That's not what people are looking for.
Yeah,
So, yeah.
exactly. So, well, where can anybody find you if they want to take one of your classes? Go to the Victoria. Tell us a little bit where to find you, social media.
Sure.
By all means.
Oh, thanks. Uh, so the website is danceruniversity.com. And that always lists all of our events, upcoming workshops, group classes. You could even book privates on there with me if you like.
Nice.
Um, and then, so yeah, you can find all the information there. I think maybe if you're brand new and you just want to dip your toe in for the first time, come to either Noy Pits or the Victorian and take a class there. That one would be drop-in style. It's included in your cover. And
Cool.
so then you could get a little feel for it. The Victorian's a little bit of a zoo. There's a lot of people in the room for the class, but it's fun. You know, you're not gonna be able to see me half the time because it's crowded, but it's a good time. You're gonna meet a lot of people. So yeah, danceruniversity.com has all that stuff. You could also follow me on Instagram. It's gil.nicole. My last name is gil.nicole. And I always post whatever's happening, whatever we're looking forward to, whether it's a night or classes. I'm constantly posting every day.
I see that, which is impressive, which is something to do. It's something that you need to do, uh, for those that are trying to attack social media, and you do it really well. So,
Thank you. Thank you.
no, you're very welcome. Well, Nicole, it was great to have you on the podcast. It was great to just hear your story. It's an amazing story, and when I get back to LA in a few months, I'm definitely going to pay a visit to Victoria. So that's for sure.
Hope you do. Yeah, yeah.
Awesome. Well, I'll talk to you soon, and have a great rest of your evening. I'll talk to you later.
Thank you.
All
Thank
right,
you.
bye bye. See ya.
Bye.